My name is Andre Kent Jr. It is April 13th, 2022, 7:39 p.m. I am currently looking at https colon only / the homage network.weebly.com. It is a portfolio of my achievements and a portfolio of the works that were completed between 2009 and 2013 with respects to the Scout organization of the Boy Scouts of America and Cub Scouts of America and Eagle Scouts of America, which I retired from in 2009 upon my entry into Health Occupation Students of America at Aden Griffin High School in Aden, North Carolina, 28513. I decided to put my portfolio together as if it was being presented to a chancellor or the board of governors outside of myself being a student, where I won the achievements and accomplishments alongside my team while I was a student at Aden Griffin High School. Go Aden Griffin Chargers, go Pitt County Schools, go North Carolina. And I wanted to compile all of my pictures and everything that I had during that time so people do not get me confused between back then and now. Now, before I begin going through the presentation, I would just like to make a simple note. The state did not finance me to pull all of this stuff together. It is the state's job to keep all of these records on their championships and wins and achievements as the state and as schools and as the county. It is their job to keep up with the records of wins. And for any trip that we went on during 2009 to 2013, for the most part, it was financed through fundraising and it was financed through sponsorships, in-kind giving, and donations from donors. The only thing that we really received from the state as far as assistance upon wins was partial airfare, if not a whole airfare ticket for the wins. So we financed everything out of pocket. To all advisors and administrators that wanted to know about any trips or side trips that we went on, we went to the BET experience. We were invited and we were expected to lead. Not only are we expected to lead, included in Future Business Leaders of America Phi Beta Lambda, where we were there with a first place state champion in parliamentary procedure, and we were there for a state champion in virtual business knowledge matters. We were expected to lead, and we were also expected to pay out of pocket for the experience and excursions that we were on, and we were not afforded the whole trip to everywhere we were going by the state or by the county that did not pay any of those expenses. They paid a partial of those expenses, but they did not pay for the students to attend the trips, and they did not pay for the students to go and do any excursions while representing the state as students. Which means if we are representing the state, then it should have been afforded, and it was not the advisor's choice. It was our choice to go. Not only was it our choice to go, speaking now as somebody who is out and graduated from Aden Griffin High School and whose state champions and national titles still follow not only myself but the people inside the portfolio and their careers, it is important to say that for the state not to finance all of that stuff and to penalize anybody, it would be I think it would be a mistake. It may not be a mistake on the state because they may not want to sign me after saying what I have to say. However, it was right. And I'm glad that we went because it shows if any student in this day and age, if they were to win a state championship or national title in one of the public schools in not only North Carolina and Pitt County, but across the United States, how would you finance them children to go and get better knowledge, better learning, and better education in their programs where they give up and volunteer their time in those programs, working the competitions to actually go towards the state, and all the wins and achievements and everything that is in the state, it goes towards the state, and we represent the state. So if we represent the state through our wins and our championships and titles, then the state is entitled to actually pay for portions of that. So when we were in North Carolina winning the state championships with parliamentary procedure first place, virtual business first place, health sciences academy, all of the organizations that are volunteer and service work oriented as presented to the Board of Governors, whoever's the Board of Governors at the time, it would also cause a ripple in all states across the United States for public schools for students to actually win, and the advisors and higher education administrators and faculty that actually chaperone the trips and actually assist students actually getting there. Although in these student organizations, they are expected to lead independently. They are expected not only to lead independently, they are expected to excel. They are expected to be no less than excellent, and they are expected not to be average and above basics. That's in any program, in any format. So we respectfully stand with our administrators, our teachers, our faculty, our students that wanted to be a part of our journey and a part of our process. And now we're actually entering the Achievers Report, where a lot of things are, kind of condensed, but I didn't have the state backing, didn't have state funding, didn't have any real funding to actually pull everything together into a concise report as if I was going to present to a chancellor for a job, or present to the Board of Education, or present to the Board of Governors. I didn't have a budget. So yes, I'm looking tired. I'm looking rugged. I'm looking I hope I look amazing to you all, but I felt that it was important in this time to actually address a few topics. When we're on our trips and we're doing organizations and we're advising, or we are students on the organization, which I'll never be a student again in high school, which I love my high school experience. I love all the teachers and chaperones and educators, alumni, donors, sponsors, and everybody that helped us achieve those high moments. Coming back into the school system and the state system, actually having to work alongside my friends who have graduated from so many universities. They've not only graduated from universities, but they've come to a point where they're up at the top elite universities: UNC Chapel Hill, Duke University. They're at Yale, Harvard, Ivy Leagues. They're also in hospitals. I know I've sent messages for projects that I was working on to Mayo Clinic, Duke Medical. I've sent countless documents and stuff just to leave a paper trail everywhere that I've been, leave a paper trail virtually, so that they can't say that I did not do everything in my power. With that being said, I do not have kids. I do not have children. I do not have students at the moment. I am pretty much a free agent. But when it comes to the Homage Network, I would like to use the earned interest from the amount of the report, of how much the whole value of the report is, including the championships and state, national, at my level of what I think each rank is worth and each line item is worth, including whether you're a president, secretary, vice president, treasurer, whether you're a winner, championship, advisor, chaperone. All of that stuff is worth something. But I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the organization. The Queen in Europe, she has a sovereign wealth grant. I want something similar, but I'm calling my report the Achievers Report, because they're still achieving, they're still winning. My students and stuff, I wasn't more of a teacher's assistant. I was more being trained and taught to go above and beyond. When I was in school, you might look at me, because I did serve in the troops and the scouts back in 2007, 2006, 2005, but I was just a baby back then. And you would think that I was much more mature than most when I was in high school, but my pathway was health sciences and business, where we were working my way up to be the chief executive officer of the hospital system and the medical system. So to be the chief executive officer of the entire medical system, or a hospital that has that many employees, that many volunteers, that many doctors, nurses, medical staff, that many boards, and has to have what's the word? The word's not really important, but they have to have a certain poise about themselves, and they have to learn so much more information. They have to learn how to communicate with others. They have to learn how to delegate tasks and split up between the state and church, which should always be separate. The state and church should always be separate. Even though the church and the state, they don't work like they're separate. They work like they're one unified union. And they should not. But I had training from Pitt County Teen Court, Pitt County Health Sciences Academy, Mediation Center of Eastern Carolina, Eastern AHEC, and all of these organizations that helped build me up into the person that I am today. And I am so grateful for those advisors and those teachers and coaches and mentors, including from football teams with Coach Cornwell, Coach Pearson, Coach Brooks, Coach Kessel, Coach Wooten, Miss Laura Joyner, Miss Joyce Dawes, Miss Fran Green, all the teachers and the support that I've had, especially with the organizations that I've been working in. Miss Candy Tucker with Student Government Association, Miss Annette Glass with Link Crew, and actually getting involved into those organizations on the outside of the school day, because in my personal professional opinion, I believe that, with No Child Left Behind is one thing. But if you spend all your time as an educator and a teacher teaching all of those who would be better assisted by somebody that are special coordinators, and those that after school they can get extra help, they can get extra time. I know, because I spent so much time spending on recruitment with different student organizations and students inside schools back when I was a high school student, that if you use all of your time to help those that are falling behind or those that are not placed appropriately inside the right setting, whether it's AP, honors, standard, or remedial, and you treat AP students like remedial students, then the AP students and honor students become problems. Why? Because they're moving so much faster than everybody else. So they're the problem children by the time that you're done going to the remedial students or standard students at their level. It's already caused a problem with those that are at AP levels doing honors, National Honor Society, doing Career and Technical Honor Society. Shout out to Miss Dawn Everett and Miss Victoria Hamill, who were also, and Miss Doris Grubbs. And thank you to all the janitors with your assistance, including Miss Blossom, Mr. Carl Lester. Thank you for all of your help and your service in North Carolina back when I was a student, but it places the AP students and the honor students at a disadvantage. And I brought the Achievers Report back, and I brought it back in a different format. It's completely different, completely reorganized, and it has rules on it. That way it can do a strategic partnership with the school system or the state government or federal government, and it not be so bizarre that it's worth that money. You would think more like Elon Musk and Tesla than you would, oh my God, there's a bum. I'm not a bum. I chose to, I was training to be the chief of the hospital, and I told my advisor at Health Sciences Academy, I will never forget it. Her name was Tara Parker. She was with Pitt County Health Sciences Academy, and she asked me what did I want to do for a career. And I said I wanted to sue the hospital. I want to be a malpractice attorney. Of course, that probably didn't go over well with their boards, but being that I'm coming back now, and the state has not maintained those assets that we as students between 2009 and 2013 worked so hard to get them up to code, and the state has not maintained them due to them wanting to be in other places than the state that we helped build up while we were also in degree programs and learning and working. It goes to show you maybe I was partially right, because I haven't been fed appropriately in the way that I'm supposed to. And most people would say it's because of myself personally, and which is partially true, up to the extent where I didn't really want to leave school, but I wanted to start a business. I switched my pathway from health sciences to business and finance within the healthcare system, within the finance system, within entrepreneurship. So when I switched my major, all of my stuff changed. Entrepreneurship was not a degree in 2014. Entrepreneurship was not a degree in 2013, or it was very, very new. That was before everybody started talking about Shark Tank and Y Combinator, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all the programs that I support. So when I decided to make an active choice to start my business in school, of course everything would go wrong at that moment in 2015 when I decided to leave school and go start a business. I didn't really want to leave school, but I wanted school to be an option while I started a business. But due to errors and not knowing what I'm doing and not, having to learn everything from step one and starting over, it was a very interesting experience for myself. And to any student that is in the school system, you have much more resources than I had back in 2014 and 2013, but I partially paved the way for all of that stuff. Just so people know, pay homage. I partially paved the way for most of that stuff for people that talk to me about finances and stuff. So what I wanted to do was be an investor like on Shark Tank. I want to be like Mark Cuban or Robert Herjavec or Lori Grenier or Barbara Corcoran or, Mr. Wonderful, of course. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to take my personal money and invest in startup companies and assist them with that growth, assist them with their investment, and assist them up to my portion. So I used some of my theater training. Shout out Scott McLaurin from Aiden Griffin High School. I used some of my theater training I wanted to do a concert, and a portion of the proceeds would go towards a business accelerator and a business incubator where a portion of the proceeds would pay for us to invest in startup companies. Nobody saw the vision back then in 2013, 2014 because entrepreneurship was relatively new. So I would use the concert and the money that we generated after paying debts and dues and loans back, we would use the rest of the money to invest. That was the total goal, not to enter the entertainment market. I never in my career, as far as I know, if I can see it, have ever said that I want to be a rapper, a rap star, a rap mogul, a musician, or any of that stuff. I don't believe I've ever said that in my career. And I always maintain the same conversation. I want to be a shark like on Shark Tank. And invest in entrepreneurs, invest in the youth, invest in, the students themselves if they have an idea. And sometimes, just like on Shark Tank, they make offers. Would you be prepared to leave school for your idea? Now, I'm not in school currently. I work with, I send so many emails to my Pitt Community College alumni email, arkent228 at my.pittcc.edu and kente13 at ecualumni.ecu.edu. Because during those times, I graded myself as a PhD and a business PhD near the Juris Doctorate program for entrepreneurship, legal gray areas, torts, business, international law, and those types of programs. And I use the Homage Network to assist me with showing that I have these capabilities. My team has these capabilities. My team should expect so much out of other people and themselves. If I was completely honest, from the advisors, the students, the chaperones, to the governors, everybody in North Carolina. Shout out to Secretary of State Miss Elaine Marshall. Everybody, shout out to Miss Wendy Hazelton and Mr. Philip Insminger Jr. They trained me up from teen court days. I used to love teen court because it used to get me into the court system to actually try to hash it out with people who may be more intimidating than I am, who may have more cards than I hold, who may have more keys than I have. But they never made me feel inferior. They always, shout out to Miss May Lowe. Shout out to everybody at the Teen Court program and everybody that has graduated and is alumni of the Teen Court program. Shout out to Volunteer program. Thank you, Miss Congleton. Thank you to Miss Cassandra Daniels. Thank you to everybody at Vita Memorial Center. Thank you to everybody at University Healthcare, Pitt Memorial Hospital for getting me up to this far at the age of 26. And that's including after I left the Scouts in 2009. Thank y'all for staying with me and staying on board, because my path and my journey with God is something completely different. And we ended up with so many championships and titles, and now I'm back. So with the Homage Network, I wanted to be in a position to actually control my career and my portfolio, whether I get married or don't get married, have kids, don't have kids. And I wanted to show a more mature aspect of me. But I also wanted to set out that precedent out there that I won't be taken advantage of. I wanted to make sure that I did this video and make sure I gave shout outs to, just so I can let everybody know that just because you're an administrator and just because you're in higher education, and I've never been an educator before in that level, I've never signed a long-term deal to where they keep up with my records and everything, but I've never signed an official deal before to where, besides completing scouts, completing my championships and my championship teams, and not having to have a contract, so coming back in and discussing my contract. Yeah, I'm very grateful for Pitt Community College at the basic business level, but when I call Wake Tech, I have an Associates of Applied Business, and I'm near my Associates of General Arts, where I want to complete my dream. My portfolio is for my curriculum vitae these days. It's not for me, myself as a student. I look back, I reviewed my teachers, my advisors, the chaperones, some of my classmates and teammates, because all of that stuff happened on the outside of school while representing the school and the state of North Carolina and Pitt County. Shout out to Marty Baker. Thank you for being our principal. You did a phenomenal job. So with the Homage Network, I wanted to do something like the Queen has her sovereign wealth grant over in Europe, but I'm in America, in the United States of America, and I wanted to make sure that my family and friends were taken care of in case I ever retire or I move to a new position or this, that, and the other. And I didn't want to walk around and look bummy, even though I do sometimes. I didn't want to walk around and look bummy, but I don't have a budget yet. I have my budget that I just sent in, which is under review, but I didn't have a budget to push myself up to this level. The Boy Scouts of America, Eagle Scouts, they don't get paid. As far as I'm concerned, they've never been paid. It's volunteerism and community service, and it teaches you how to grow up a little bit. It teaches you to put your shoulders back a bit and stand up, stand firm, and stand strong. So with myself, I looked at myself not only as the Queen's Sovereign Wealth Grant, but like Michael Jordan when he was in UNC and he was scoring buckets. He got introduced into the UNC basketball museum with all of the fanatics of Carolina, the Tar Heels. Shout out Tar Heels, shout out Bull City. I wanted to be up amongst those ranks and up in those areas as far as our achievements and our catalog and our report. So I sent it out to most of the governors. And I wanted to be in that catalog. I just wanted to be a part of North Carolina in a way where we won all those state champions and national titles here in North Carolina. Even though we show respect, shout out to Anaheim, California. Shout out to Beverly Hills, California, Santa Monica, Los Angeles, and definitely Anaheim. Shout out San Antonio, Houston, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, Virginia, making sure that I, cover my base, because there's so many people that help us and assist us back in those days. But myself versus being myself, and amongst other educators and amongst other state employees, amongst other government employees, where do I see myself? I see myself using my curriculum vitae while I'm on the stage, same as anybody else would. But I made sure that I kept employment positions for everybody that wanted to be in the state and everybody that wanted government jobs and state jobs. But I also wanted partial control over the report, so it's not in a position to where I'm arguing with the government every single year about what I want. I want a plane for all of the champions, this luxury I want to be able to sit in the plane. I want Sprinter vans that are like Cadillac Escalades, where we get to sit in the back of the vans. We discuss our conferences, our itineraries, our agendas, our plan of work for the year, including as advisors, chaperones, and alumni to the programs we support. Shout out the Health Occupation Students of America, Future Farmers of America, Health Sciences Academy, Future Business Leaders of America, Phi Beta Lambda, one of the largest and oldest business networks in the world for students. We want to talk about our plan of work, our agenda. We want to talk about the state plan. We want to talk about District 1. Shout out NC host of District 1. We want to talk about different programs and stuff like that. And I just did not think it was appropriate to let me go back. Inside the university system, there is a line. There was, I don't know if it's still there, to where as long as you are not sloppy drunk, as long as you are not sloppy in your standing of what you are doing, you can have a drink. You can have a bottle of champagne or, classy drinks, conversational drinks, conversational vibe, mood drinks, to where you're meeting people. You might be at a conference or an expo or a meeting where you can take a drink and you can drink something like a wine or a champagne, or you can, it's legal in North Carolina to where they're doing it with the Delta 8 cannabis, or you can smoke a joint. So let's say you don't drink, but you partake. And I'm saying this because it's inappropriate for champions, advisors, and chaperones, in my opinion, to be driving. And with them in their budgets, as well as myself and my budget, requesting that we have Sprinter vans, Cadillacs, and we have drivers so we can focus on our plan of work, our agenda, our budgets, and stuff while we're on the road if necessary, and be able to adapt while on the road with a professional driver that drives us different places throughout the year on our fuel budgets, on our budgets for the planes and stuff. I don't think I would get on a plane and be the pilot of my own plane when I can ask for a pilot and I can sit in the back of the plane and I can sit there and work on my documents, work on my plan of work on my board meetings, work on my agenda. So I put in a request for Sprinter vans, Cadillac Escalades, and the drivers. And I put in a request for the airplanes because, like I shouted out, so many states that actually care about what we're doing and they care about the students and the organizations, and not only the students, but the alumni and the alumni foundations and the alumni associations. Shout out to ECU Alumni Association. Shout out to Pitt Community College Alumni Foundation. Shout out to the Pitt Community College Small Business Center. And shout out to the Small Business Network all up and down the East Coast. I feel like it's so inappropriate in the modern age when we actually have the resources to hire drivers and chauffeurs. Not that we want one night of excellence, but we want 12 months. I'm not going to say 12 months. We want at least 8 or 9 months of work through our plan of work, our calendar, our organization, to where we're setting the agenda, we're setting the plan of work, we're going by our bylaws and our rules, including as advisors, chaperones, and those that actually help run the organizations, including voting delegates, as anybody else would. I would love to request that type of stuff inside my budget. And I have requested that stuff in my budget. I've also requested for salaries of my team around $400,000 each, generated from interest. For the champions themselves, I've requested, and their advisors, I've requested each to have an individual home for themselves through state dollars with state rooms for them throughout the year, without anybody bothering them or anything. Their own state room, their own state car, their own state fuel, their own state card, their own food and budgeting for themselves as an individual. And I've included all of this in an Excel program, an Excel sheet. And I have also written a check that is voided for these purposes of, let's say the state doesn't want to finance this and that, or the general budget and Congress doesn't want to finance, or the Board of Governors doesn't want to finance this and that. I wanted to leave myself open with the option to go ask a small business or a large business, whether it be Pepsi, Berkshire Hathaway, Coca-Cola Company, Disney World. What are some other brands? Scholastic. More oriented towards taking care of students, chaperones, alumni, kids and stuff, to where on the outside of the government, one of these companies cuts the same amount of check to establish the Achievers Report for the budget that it is. So it'll be about $80 billion. Let's say at $80 billion, I want to establish the report and do it my budget my way. I would definitely help advise and assist and advise the state with their teachers, their students, and their advisors and how they work through the state. And I do that way, and I say it that way so the state knows that if you say no, it doesn't mean I'm not going to go ask someone else, especially not without me having a contract from the state. Not that you're held up or anything. And with the Homage Network, I've created a revocable living trust, and the revocable living trust works while I'm alive. It works similar to a limited liability company where the revocable living trust, I just got a mail from PNC about a week ago. I got the same letter. It said the Homage Network on the outside, and it came right from PNC. So PNC knows what they're doing as well. PNC will also be an excellent sponsor for that type of budget if the state says no or the federal government says no. They would be excellent for that, because I try to keep everything, with all those organizations. I'm not asking for money, we're asking for assets inside our portfolio. But with the revocable living trust, same as all of them, the way they're written up, they work while I'm alive. They don't work they work after I'm dead too, but the way that it was written for myself, my revocable trust can open up bank accounts. It has an EIN number, has a DUNS number. It has been registered with the Pitt County Courthouse to do business in all 100 counties in the state of North Carolina. It has the website listed as its assets, its primary asset. It has the value of all the state wins and championships of myself without adding anybody else into the portfolio besides just my friends and family, just showing who I am as a person. And the scouts, how much they get paid. I would get paid one share of everything, same as everybody like a scout. On the scout side, I would get, with that argument, same as most retirees, enough for a house, food, car allowance, travel allowance, like a federal FHA loan. So that's what I would get for the scouts. I wouldn't get much for the scouts except a commission if somebody wanted to write me one, but it was more philanthropic. I get a philanthropic commission from it. But as far as the Achievers Report, I try to keep all of that stuff public. I try to keep all of that stuff close to the state and the education system to where it shows students, you can do this. You can do this. I know times get rough. No, times get hard. You can do this. I don't let them focus on cannabis. I don't let them focus on anything else. And with the revocable living trust, it's on right now. Every time I make a change in my system, it changes elsewhere. But the problem is I want to be able to walk into the buildings that we choose. I want to be able to walk into the buildings. I want to be able to call a chauffeur or call a driver, get me to my meetings on time, get me to my conferences on time, get my advisors to their meeting on time, get my advisors to their conferences on time. So amongst other educators, this is what I would want and what I request. I'm grateful to my friends, the chaperones and alumni. I'm grateful to everybody for everything that they've done and all the connections. Shout out to Institute for Leaders and FBLA, PBL. I'm back in the PBL circuit to an extent. Thank you for everything, and I have more information coming to y'all soon.